Orla teaches she's an international trainer. She's a mindfulness teacher. She helps, facilitates groups. She trains teachers, and she has founded 3 mindfulness groups and supports groups internationally, and practices at Plum Village. She's part of a group committee organizer for this coming retreat, the summer retreat at Plum Village, France, which is amazing. And she will let us know what is it about and how can we attend this retreat, mainly for parents, teachers, and children and teenagers. We will share all her contacts, I promise, okay? And she works with schools, with families, with teenagers, youth. I see social workers here joining, lovely, and also social workers. And her aim is to build a happier community. So she's going to teach us the strategies and let us know what mindfulness is and which strategies can we learn to be able to become happier today. I selected some of you know, I have an organization in Kenya, and the kids that we helped building up 10 years ago, now they are youths and lovely teenagers, full of questions, full of passion, and a lot of, inquietudes inside. And they have, we collected few of their questions. And if we have time at the end, we might add some extra time for Orla to help us know even more. And we couldn't be happier to have you here, Orla. It's such an honor. I'm so grateful that you accepted having this talk. Thank you, and welcome to these well-being talks that I have created during these COVID times to educate myself and other people on amazing strategies that are there in the world. All the resources are here. There is so much beauty, so much wisdom, so much knowledge we just have to tap into. And I have created these small informal talks to educate people, to learn about the amazing healing strategies that are there out for us to tap into when we need help, So without taking a lot of your time, would you like to let us know what mindfulness is? And then I will start asking you some questions that I received from my youth from Kenya. And at the end, you can finish letting us know a little bit about the trainings that you are giving for teachers, for family, for children. And also this new game that you have that I played with you in December that I so much loved. And I would like all my friends that have children to play among themselves. Such a beautiful, dynamic game to deal with emotion. Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. Hello, Buffet. Hello, everyone. Now here is Orla.
Clara, dear friends, thank you so much for creating this space to connect and to nourish and learn from each other and listen together during these times. It's so important. And I am so happy to be together, always. And for me, so mindfulness is an energy. Mindfulness is an energy that we generate in this moment of our life. And it has the qualities of being awake and open. So we don't ignore certain parts of this moment. And it has the quality of being very kind as well. So it's a very strong energy that has the capacity to hold any of our suffering. So whether we're feeling very worried or very angry, when we generate an energy of mindfulness, it can take care of it with great kindness. And it helps us not miss a moment of our life. You know, this moment, this is what we get. So our mind has a habit of going forward to the future all the time, or going back to the past and replaying things all the time. So mindfulness helps us disconnect from all of our time traveling and come into this moment so that we can really be here for ourselves and for our loved ones.
Totally, yes. I fully have experienced what you are saying. And yes, I couldn't have reframed it better. Thank you so much, Orla. Would you like us to start with these questions that my teenagers and youths from Kenya wrote for you today?
Yes.
Maybe you can give some more light with what is mindfulness in a more practical way.
Yeah.
And then later on, we would like, to know more and more and more.
Great.
The first question is from Florence. They are connected with two different phones, the girls in their mentor flat with the girls and the boys with the boys. So here is Florence. She's 16 years old. It was her birthday for yesterday. And she said that sometimes, yes, happy birthday, Florence. She says that sometimes, mainly now with no school and less scheduled activities, at night I cannot sleep because some memories from the past come in my mind, and my question is if mindfulness can help me sleep better and relax these memories coming from, she says, from very early memories. Yeah, she's been with us in our program for 10 years. She came when she was 6. Yeah. And she lost
Wonderful.
her parents. And she, well, she's pure joy and happiness. We call her the sun of the family. And yes, and apparently the question, I didn't know she had issues with the sleeping, but I think she's using this platform, and maybe you know any mindfulness strategy to help us and to help her sleep better.
Yeah, it's a wonderful question. I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful to Florence. Thank you for asking it. And I think, like a lot of us have difficulty sleeping when we have a busy mind. And for me, when we notice a difficulty of sleeping, I feel that what we need to do is learn not necessarily to sleep better, but to rest better. Because if we only focus on sleep, then it can put even more pressure on us. That we think, I'm sure we've all had those nights where we go, if I fell asleep right now, I would get 6 hours sleep. And when we just stare going, I would get 5 hours and 59 minutes sleep. So we don't want to put more pressure on ourselves. So I think what I do when I work with people is that we teach our bodies to know when it's appropriate to rest, when it's okay to rest. And so sometimes, especially if there's a lot of pressure at nighttime, we go way earlier. So we might do deep relaxation, maybe for 5 or 10 minutes in the morning or after lunchtime, that we learn to practice inviting our body to let go and to feel at ease and to let a sense of really deep relaxation come through our whole body. And when we practice that earlier in the day, then over time we can get closer to bedtime. So then it can be something that we do just before we go to bed, that we might begin our bedtime by playing a deep relaxation and beginning to go through our body. And then our body knows that it's okay to rest. Our body isn't going, oh, they're telling me that I have to go to sleep. I have to go to sleep. So our body learns to trust the practice of deep relaxation. And I can share, I have some deep relaxations that I can share so that people can explore for themselves.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So that would be lovely.
Yeah, earlier.
Lovely. And so basically, you are telling us that during the day to practice some of these relaxation and pause moments so that the body basically remembers. And when we have to actually go to bed, there is this connection with during the day that we have not been agitated all day. And maybe this is a bridge or that the body has, you have mentioned the word, the body has learned how to trust, and then we can relax better, rest better. Lovely. Yeah. Yes, I hope Florence is listening and she can, use this strategy. And Orla is telling us that she's actually going to share some few relaxations, even though they know how to go into meditation and relaxation. Lovely, lovely. We have another one from Felix, 20 years old. Sometimes I'm asked to do some responsibilities that I don't want to do, and I feel angry. I don't know how to control this feeling within me. I take few breaths, but mindfulness could help me to control my anger. but could mindfulness help me to control my anger?
That's a great question, and I certainly empathize feeling angry at times. And I think that the word control can cause us difficulty, because if we see anger as something that we just want to control, then we create a war. So we just start a fight inside us, and that doesn't bring us peace. All we do is we suffer more. So for me, I try and think of myself as like that there's part of me that's angry, but there's part of me that's a very kind ruler of this country, this whole land that feels so many different things, so many different thoughts and emotions, loads of different habits. But there's part of me that's a very good, wise ruler who can be firm and really kind. And it's that part of us that we want to befriend. We want to become friends with our anger so that we can learn how to understand it a little more. Because I think that our anger has a wisdom underneath it. That, there's a reason that our anger comes up. There's some need that we have that is not being met, and our anger comes up to try and fight for us. So it could be that, our anger comes up because there's part of us that is a 4-year-old child and just doesn't want to do it. You just don't want to do it. And that's fine. That there's part of us that comes up and doesn't want to do it. Because we know there's part of us that knows that actually we do need to do it, that actually there we have responsibilities, and we can do this with dignity, with openness, and we can cause ourselves much less pain. So we have these two parts of us, and we need to not ignore our anger, but learn how to take care of it. And we know that neurologically in our brain, if we can just acknowledge that there is anger in us, the anger quietens down a little bit. So when they scan our brain with MRI machines, if we're really cross, part of our brain lights up. And if we can say, I know that there is anger in me, or I am aware anger is arising, just saying it calms down that little bit of our brain. So what we never want to do is ignore our anger, because it just thinks we haven't heard it. So it just gets louder and louder. So when we notice our anger come up, we can offer kindness towards it. Just like if a baby was crying, or if a kitten or a puppy was shivering or mewing, that our instinct is just to go, oh, little guy, it's okay. That we need that part of us that can take care of our anger. And then we're bigger than our anger. We're not just one emotion. Then we can go, part of me does not want to do this, and part of me is fine with doing this. Part of me knows how to do this with such peace that I can get it done. And over time, when we practice, this part of us that knows how to do it peacefully gets stronger and stronger. Yeah. So we start by offering kindness towards our anger, to kind of snuggle it in and know that we can, again, it's trust, that we can begin to take good care of it.
Lovely, yeah. Thank you. It was so, educational. So basically acknowledging, trusting, not ignoring, and offering kindness to also that part of ourselves. That's lovely. Thank you, Orla. I'm sure that this was very useful, not only for Felix, but for other people with anger. I think, all these parts are within all of us. Eva, 19 years and a half, no, she turned 20 already. Okay, in between. How can mindfulness help me to let go the pain that a friend has caused from the past? Something bad that someone made me feel that comes back, and I want to forgive, but I do not know how to let go. It keeps coming and coming into my mind. How can mindfulness help me with Eva? Our entrepreneur, fashion designer from Kenya. Yeah.
Well done, Eva. So letting go of the past is something that we all practice with and struggle with, I think, at times. That we all have hurts in our past, or really big moments of challenge or difficulty, or times we felt we were betrayed. And it can feel still like a living wound, that we kind of come back to it and it's still very alive. And I think at those times so there are times where the past is too strong for us. It's just, we can't think about it without feeling hurt. It's just not possible yet because the hurt is still too big and alive. So I think at those times we need to establish ourselves in this moment and connect with what is safe and loving and kind in this moment. So part of it is about knowing when it's appropriate to pay attention to the past. And how to let go is not letting go is such a huge cause of pain for us, that we know that our two big instincts are to grip. So we have something that we want or we love and we grip it. And if you do this with your fist for even 4 seconds, it's sore. It causes pain. And then the other way that we respond is that we push away. We're like, I don't want that. I don't. And if you do this for 4 seconds, ow, that's also sore. So neither is a peaceful way to be. So we need to know when it's appropriate to pick something up and hold it, and when it's appropriate to let it down and let go. And there is so much freedom in that for us. So we learn how to take care of our thoughts. So when they're like Velcro, sticky thoughts in the past, we learn how to really come into this moment, and over time they become a little less sticky for us. But also, like she uses the word forgiveness, that she wants to forgive. And like very difficult with what some people have done to us. It's very difficult to have the idea of how to forgive something so big. And so for me, the idea of forgiveness is to help me suffer less. You know, actually, we don't forgive to let someone else away with something or to say it was okay what they did. But we forgive in order to acknowledge that is what happened. Like, that's what happened. But the big gift is for us. You know, sometimes it's described as, that anger is described as drinking poison and expecting someone else to become sick. Actually, we become sick. So learning how to, and it's through kindness that we can offer our care for our suffering, our pain in this moment because of how someone else has treated us. And what we do is we get stuck in a story going, I'll tell you what happened. They did this, and that's why I'm in pain. But if we can stay with the pain, to just go, I really care about the suffering. I really care about you. And I'm not going to leave you alone in it. I'm not going to run away. I'm going to stay here with you. So by offering us unconditional kindness, it begins to soften the pull of that pain. And it also means that when we hurt ourselves or other people, we can be there for us as well. So the kindness, generating this kindness towards ourselves, has a lot of different effects. It helps us not feel so ashamed or guilty. You know, it helps us to let go. But slowly the past begins to not have so much of a grip on us. And then when it's not as painful, we can look at it with more clarity, so that we can really look at a situation and go, so this is what happened, and it is not what I wanted to happen, but it is what happened. So what wisdom can I offer myself now to help that just release so that it doesn't have a hold on me? But it takes a little time, because these are big pains that we, you know, it's not, you know, we're not a piece of software that just needs to be upgraded. Like, this is our very messy life, you know? So we really need to honor them. Yeah, these are deep. Yeah.
Acknowledge, embrace, allow. Yes. Be there. Yes. And ask that part, what does it need? Yeah. Lovely answers. Yes. Lovely. Let's move to the next question, which is Catherine. She's 17 years old. I go from a feeling of being super happy to a feeling of being so low. And instead of sharing, I get myself a place to be alone, and I don't feel like sharing. I want to share, but I don't understand my problem. Are these emotions or feelings, and why are they up and down? Can mindfulness help me with this?
Oh, that's beautifully expressed. Thank you, Catherine. So yes, I think that I find that quite a lot, that there are sometimes moments of happiness in our life, and our instinct is not to trust the happiness. You know, that we're afraid that it's going to change anyway, so why would I let myself be happy? So sometimes when a feeling of happiness stops almost immediately, it's because we have a strong, we are wary about being happy, because we're kind of looking around, waiting for the next thing to go wrong. We're just sure this will be taken away from me, so I can just end it now. And also the low feelings might be very familiar. Like it might be our most familiar. It's like a cozy cardigan or coat. You know, we're so used to it. It feels very comfortable. Whereas a feeling of great happiness might be very strange. So sometimes our body just goes into what's familiar because it feels new territory. It feels a little uncomfortable. But yes, there's lots that mindfulness can help. So when we have, so in terms of our basic feelings, in my practice, we describe them as sensations. So it's very physical, our feelings, and there are only 3 types. So we keep it very simple. There's a pleasant feeling, an unpleasant feeling, or a neutral feeling. Just 3, super simple. So a pleasant feeling is, and you can really feel into your body to explore this, if you imagine your favorite food was in front of you right now. So you can bring it to mind in all its color, aroma, the sensation of pleasure as you're just about to get to eat it. And you can sense in our muscles this almost leaning towards, you know, and your mouth might have actually made saliva just at the thought of the nice food. So that's a pleasant feeling. And you can see your whole body kind of leans in towards it. And then if you hold that feeling of pleasant, and then imagine maybe a little snail, so a little garden snail, being crushed by a foot. So imagine a snail and then someone wearing boots crushing the snail. And can you feel what happens in your body? There's this little, yeah, exactly. You've got it. Yeah. So that's an unpleasant feeling. And whatever the unpleasant feeling is, our body responds the same way. There's a little tightening and a little moving back. Yes. So we're leaning forward, moving back, or it has no effect on us. And they're the only 3 types of sensations that we have. Everything else is thinking. Everything else, thinking emotions. So when we have, so one of the ways of helping to take care of our emotions that kind of hook us, sideswipe us like that, is just to name it. And we don't get into a story of like, this is really low, I should share, I'm not sharing. Then we just go, this is an unpleasant feeling. Just name it, kind of like putting a little sticker on it, going, that unpleasant feeling. And just by seeing, it creates distance for it. So the average feeling that we have lasts 90 seconds. 90 seconds. So if we don't feed it with thinking and making ourselves feel worse about it, it will kind of wash through us. It's like a little droplets of a river just moving through, and this is like unpleasant snail squashed feeling, and then it just moves through. But what we do is we go, oh, I hate it. Why is it happening? I had that other feeling. This is terrible. Maybe it's your fault. And we get into all of this thinking about it, which feeds it. And then we're stuck. Then we don't know what to do with it. So naming it gives a little bit of, like, you're a little bit more in control when you can go, actually, I've got this. I name you unpleasant feeling. And then the other thing we can begin to notice over time is to see what might have fed the feeling. Because we're taking in nutrition all the time. Yeah. So we think of nutrition as what we eat, but actually we're eating with our eyes, with our ears, all the time, everything that we're around. So sometimes it's really good nutrition. Sometimes we have a beautiful conversation with such love and kindness, or we see a beautiful sky or tree, and that's really good nourishment. And sometimes we feed ourselves rubbish that makes us feel jittery or scared or sad. So over time, we can look to like, everything needs nutrition to survive. So depression, our feeling of depression, it needs nutrition every day to survive. So we can start to notice, like, what are the ways that I might be feeding that? And be very gentle with it. Like, you're not a self-help project. You don't need to be fixed. So this is simply our life and our heart, So be really kind. We let ourselves be slow, curious learners, so that you can just kind of very gently go, can I sense how I might have fed that feeling? And if you can't, you can't. It's fine. Move on. Go, baffling mystery.
Yeah, totally. Just observing and naming it as unpleasant to somehow be more in control and see what's feeding, like which thought patterns are bringing us. And it's very powerful what you said. I studied it a few years ago and I forgot actually. But yes, the strong feeling actually, it's few seconds. It's us that we play the replay again and again, no? Because we get stuck with that feeling and we don't know what to do with it. So it's a very, thank you for reminding us. Yes, lovely. Wow, we are learning so much tonight. Thank you, Orla. Very inspiring. We have another question. Sarah, she had many. I had to ask her to choose one. She's 19. And a part of doing the hair of all her sisters, she's also studying to become a secretary, and she's doing already her internship. She's very beautiful and loving. And she says, how can I create more balance in my life? How can I deal with a bad day? How can mindfulness help me to cope with a bad day? So a day that has not been, one thing after the other one has gone wrong. Sometimes fear happens,
Try again tomorrow. Yeah, I know those days. So one thing that helps me is to notice when there are good moments. And actually, it's not even to do with when there are bad moments, but just to change the focus, first of all, to just noticing when there are good moments. We know that our mind, we evolved to notice problems and to pay more attention to problems and pain and challenges and obstacles and threats than to loving moments and good surprises and moments where there's no pain. No pain. Like, our brain just doesn't pay as much attention to the wholesome good moments. It's much more interested in all the problems. And there's part of our brain in this moment that all it does is scan for problems. All it does, just scanning for all the ways that this moment is not exactly the way that I want it to be. And the difficulty is, because we're more interested in that, we get a very distorted view of our day and of our life. So around 70% of our thoughts are negative thoughts. So even on a good day, even on a great day, I think 70% are just like it's great, but I don't like this. And so we need to, so our mind has grown up leaning towards the negative. And what we need to do is deliberately notice this to kind of straighten it a little bit so that we have a more clear perspective, a more sane perspective on how something is going. So we had mentioned letting go earlier, and often I take time when the first bad thing happens in a day, like one difficult moment. And, I've had so many days that turned into a bad day because of one difficult moment. But actually, if we let the moment be the difficult moment and then let it go, then we refresh ourselves. And the next moment, then that was just a difficult moment. It wasn't a bad day. So at least we're open for it not to be a terrible day. At least we're open for it to be okay. So, so when the day is okay, we really work at noticing just how okay. Tell me all the good moments, all the good bits about this. And it strengthens our muscle to be this way. So that when we get pulled towards the negative, we have more muscle to just bounce back, to go, actually, that was a terrible 10 minutes. Those 10 minutes were just awful, and I never wanted to experience that. But boing, but this is my next moment.
Yeah.
So we learn to train ourselves how to notice beauty, connection, kindness, how to listen to ourselves, how to offer compassion to ourselves. And all of these things really help us from getting stuck in these negative slumps, like a little whirlwind, a whirlpool of negative day.
Yeah. Totally, yes. So we have one moment after the other one, and one doesn't have to color the rest of the moments of the day. So yes, remember that 70%, Orla just said that 70% of our thoughts are negative. If we could just paint the next thoughts with other colors, that would be so lovely. And allow that moment to be bad and wait for the next one to be different without us painting it already in that color that we experienced before. Yes, big insight. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's lovely. Now, Delvin. Delvin has another. You are happy, Natasha? Yes. Sarah has just said a thank you and some hands because she acknowledges your reply. Beautiful. Delvin is 20 years old, studying accounts, and can mindfulness help regain memory loss? If yes, how and why?
So that's a great question. So one, I'm not a medical doctor, so I should say that up front. And I'm not a specialist in memory. I do know that we lose our memories for many reasons. Sometimes physical, sometimes there's trauma. And yeah, and I know that we also, the research into memory is that we're constantly, like, we feel our memory as a stable thing. Sometimes is that we know, I know that happened. But actually, our brain kind of fine tunes it over the years. So our brain is constantly tweaking the memory, usually to make it a little bit more painful, a little bit more dramatic. So our brain, our memories are not, they feel very fixed in us if we do have one. And actually our brain is changing them and laying them down differently. So for me, what I feel about mindfulness and memories is that mindfulness, like memories aren't so trustworthy at times. They're very, the memory of me when I'm 9 years old is the very highest wisdom that I had as a 9-year-old child with my brain not fully developed yet. So replaying that memory is not always so helpful. So what if I can take the brain of a grown-up mindfulness practitioner and generate an energy of mindfulness and then allow that memory to come in. And what tends to happen is that we can see the past more clearly. And it's very much like, sometimes it's like a sudden insight. We simply understand things more. At 9 years old, it's very difficult to empathize with people. So our perception is often that the whole world revolves around me and that, everyone should just do what I say. And so as an adult, sensing that memory, I have much more empathy for my parents, for my friend, for myself. And often we have much more understanding. So I think for me, that's where mindfulness really comes in. And I mean, with the people I practice with, often they do remember things that they didn't remember before. But it's usually, there's an insight and an understanding that they might be, let's say, they might be in this moment. And so someone who I practices with told a beautiful story where it was the beginning of a treat and her husband passed her a note to say, oh, your neighbor asked, could they borrow this tool? So I said, sure. And she was immediately furious, furious. And it was a silent retreat, so she couldn't say anything either. So she was sitting there furious. And she couldn't understand why she was furious, because she loves her neighbor. And if her neighbor had asked her, she'd have gone, sure, no problem. So she was trying to understand why she was so cross about not being included. And she just sat with the physical sensation of her body of being like that, no, not the way I wanted it. And this memory came up of her being 11 and being left out of a very big decision that was made, and having just that same energy of like, I don't want it. I wanted to be included in this. And she said once she saw it, she could see the habit the whole way through her life, that when she was left out of moments, that when she felt she was left out of decisions, she had this very strong reaction, very strong. So for me, mindfulness really helps us. It helps us understand our habits. You know, we have these habit energies that we move with the whole way through our life. They're like a strong current of our river of our life, and it really helps us notice them and understand them. And sometimes we can notice them right back to their beginning, and then they just dissolve. They can really just be healed back at the very source.
Totally, yes. Paula from Hamburg has asked one, and then I will jump to the social workers' questions. But she asked now, while we were talking, how can mindfulness heal physical diseases or problems? Yes. Yeah, because I'm a bit conscious about the time, and I would like everyone to benefit from your wisdom. So, oh my God, I wish we got another hour, but Instagram just shuts everything up. Yes.
So,
do you want me to read
a lot of research? Yeah. Of research into mindfulness and pain and physical illness, and when they've done a few different studies. So mindfulness with people who were in a lot of pain, who would take morphine for the pain, mindfulness was found to be, I think, 24% more effective than morphine in taking care of our pain. So I'll just mention maybe one thing about when we're ill, that our body tends to become inflamed. So we tend to have an inflammation reaction in all our internal organs, in our nervous system. Everything is just a little bit inflamed. And what we know from practicing mindfulness, from generating this energy that is open, so not resisting, and kind and caring, is that our level of inflammation goes down. So I think that's probably for me, it's the most fundamental way that mindfulness helps, is that it simply reduces the inflammation of our body. And so whatever illness we're experiencing, whatever pain or discomfort, actually just goes down a little bit.
Totally. Yes. Lovely. Thank you. I hope you are happy, Paula, with the reply. We go back, we have another one, but I would like to reply to this, to the Kenyan family, how we as a big family of different members with different ages and interests can practice mindfulness together. You're welcome, Paula. Well, Paula is thanking you to reply the last question. Yes. And we'd like to know, because we live together in mentor flats and we have different ages and different personalities and different interests. How can we practice mindfulness together? Even though within a family that we are all so different and
so I love this question, and practicing together as a family is very important to me. And I think for me, even though we're very different and unique, we are connected very strongly. So our love for each other connects us. So we can start with our love for each other. It's a very natural place to start, that we can create a space where each of us belongs, where we agree to share from our heart, so that our family can understand what we're feeling and that takes bravery, and where we can listen with an open heart and an open mind. And as we do that, we deepen our understanding of each other. So it can begin in a very simple way. So beginning with how we're feeling. And often we do that, if they're very young children, we do it in terms of our weather, that we go, you have outside weather, which we can see, and there's also inside weather. So if you looked inside, what is your weather like right now? Sometimes it's like a sunshiny day. It's so easy to be us. Yeah. And sometimes it's cloudy or stormy. And, so can you share what your weather is like? And we go around the circle. We just share our weather, and every weather gets to belong. So there's no good weather, bad weather. Like there might be easy weather and difficult weather, but it's not good or bad. It's just weather. So I was doing a meeting with friends a few weeks ago, and we did our weather at the beginning, and there were 5 of us, and 3 of us had very foggy, misty weather. 3 of the 5, and we were supposed to make a decision. And I listened to everyone's weather, and I was like, it's a terrible time to try and make a decision. Let's not make our decision today. So it really helps us learn how to take care of each other when we can share our weather. Like if you know someone's really stormy, like you're just going to give them more space, So we can share how we're feeling. We can share our happiness. So we do a practice called Catch Happy, where we see how contagious our happiness can be. We think of one thing that made us happy that week, and everyone else just listens and see if they can catch it. And we can water each other's flowers. So you can imagine that everyone's a flower, and you find one thing that you really appreciate about that person. And it's specific, not like, I'd like to water Clara's flowers because she's nice. Because what does that even mean? Could mean anything. So we get really specific. I would like to
explain what watering a flower is, please. Explain it, because we can imagine, maybe some of us know, but maybe not everyone. What is watering a flower and why it's so important? Yes.
So we imagine that all of us are flowers, and there are days where we are like a very new, super strong flower, like unstoppable. Flowers that push up through cement and out little cracks in buildings. There's no stopping those flowers. And some days we're really droopy. Some days we don't feel so great about ourselves, and it's really hard. And we kind of forget that we can be a strong flower. So the practice of flower watering is to express our appreciation for another person. So we allow ourselves to think of the person, sense how we feel. We find one specific moment that we really appreciated. So, for example, if I was watering Clara's flowers now, I would say I would like to water Clara's flowers because she took time yesterday during a busy day to spend time with me so that we could share together. And she really took time to check in with me that I was comfortable and that I understood how to take part in this evening. And that really helped me. It helped me yesterday and it helped me this evening. So I'm so grateful. I felt really included and supported and loved, and thank you. So that's how we do it. And then if we're in a circle, everyone can water our flowers. So we just make little flowers with our hands, little flowers dancing. Yeah. And so
is that again to acknowledge and recognize each other's. Yes. Thank you, Orla. This is, I think it's super important. So how as a family can, you have expressed the weather, yes, for Wilfred, the weather inside us. And that sometimes when we, out of a group, some of us are foggy or cloudy, not to take decisions. So yes, such a good, a big insight. Yes. Would you like to share with us some other strategies? We have 2 more questions. I'm not sure if we can reply them all. One person from the group, which I don't know now the name, I can't, from Tanzania, I think, yes. Ask the difference between mindfulness and meditation. And we have another one from our social worker. We have a comment from Dr. Kavita from Delhi. Yes. It's 11 p.m. in India, and she's super grateful of all the things that she's learned with you today. So from a professional to a professional, another thank you. She's watering you now. Lizzie asked, how can mindfulness create a better world and a fairer society? And this other person from Tanzania asked, what is the difference between mindfulness and meditation? And I still would like you to share with us some more strategies to practice with the family. So let's see what do we have with these 9 minutes, 8 minutes, 8 minutes, and want to say goodbye and send kisses to everyone. Yes.
Okay. Move quickly. So, mindfulness and meditation. So, mindfulness is an awake energy. We use it as a form of meditation often, but there are many other forms of meditation that might kind of take us away from this moment. So, mindfulness is always in this present moment, just as it is. And we start with our body. So, some meditations take us far away from here. We feel we transcend, and mindfulness is the opposite. We anti-transcend. We come right into this moment. So for me, so they're connected. It's like a square is a rectangle, but not every rectangle is a square. So they're connected. Mm-hmm. And then how can mindfulness create a better society? So with mindfulness, we learn to listen. So that really helps us to understand the injustice of our society. It helps us not turn a blind eye. So that's one thing. It can bring us clarity in what is the next wise step to do. So often when we connect with how unfair or brutal a society is, we simply become furious, and it's very blunt. We come up with an idea and we just try and act. So mindfulness can really help us take care of the anger that we have, so that we can see with clarity what is the next wise step to do. So it really helps us move with wisdom. And the big thing for me as well is that it takes care of our energy. I work with a lot of people who are activists, and often they're exhausted, they burn out. Often they are just angry, like very, very angry. And I think, what a shame to work your whole life to take care of the planet and not to be able to enjoy the precious planet, like not to be able to sense the beauty, all the freshness of spring, the warmth of summer. And so mindfulness helps us from things getting out of kilter, getting overbalanced in one direction, so that we can work for the planet, knowing that it is a huge job that won't be finished in our lifetime. And we can do that with an open heart and with peace in our heart. So sometimes we go on a peace walk and we're not peaceful. We're furious. So with mindfulness, we can go on a peace walk and be the peace that we are calling for in society. So, so there are some of my thoughts.
So I understand more like activists are more doers, but what you're saying that is with mindfulness, we connect more with the state of being, which we bring a balance between these actions and being present, right? In us.
Yeah.
Did I understand it right? Or,
and it helps us then to do with more wisdom and less anger and more effectiveness. So our practice is still very engaged. It is not I will go away and hide myself for 20 years and live peacefully over there. Like when we practice mindfulness, we can't close our eyes to the world. So we care about our suffering, everyone's suffering. So how do we do that with a heart that's big enough to hold the suffering, So it helps us refresh our energy and replenish it so that we don't burn out, so that we can be an activist our whole life.
Totally, yes. And to close down, I'm so grateful that you took the time to reply all our questions. Thank you so much. I would like you to, if you could give us some information about the trainings that you are giving on mindfulness for teachers, for educators, for social workers, for youth and teenagers, for families. I'm aware that you do online trainings nowadays because you have adapted to this COVID. If you could give us some information, or maybe we can just add it under this video. But if there is something that would you like to advise us to join, or yes, these last 5 minutes with something that you would like to share with us, I will still put under the video any information that you would like to share with us. If there is something that you think that it's very important about your work, with everything that you do, it's very important. Creating a happy world and happy teachers and happy teenagers and happy children. Amazing, happy world. But anything that you think that
so for me, I really try and create happy communities. So it's really about establishing a group. And often I think we begin to practice for our reasons, that we think, I'm an individual, I want to take care of myself. And over time, when we practice in a group, we tap into bigger hearts, kinder hearts, more wisdom that we generate as a group together than any one of us can generate on our own. So for me, it's so precious to practice as a group. So I have some courses, and I can share. There'll be some coming up in autumn. So I do a course called Cultivating Happiness, where we look at kind of the brain bit of why we lean this way so much, and it's very practical. So we practice to make happiness a habit. I do a course for teenagers called Strengths to Thrive, which is all about our character strengths and how to use our mindfulness energy to start with the very best parts of us, our strengths. So we're in the middle of a course at the moment, and then we'll do another one in the autumn. And then I do courses for teachers to help teachers learn how to take good care of themselves so that they can take care of others. So really that's for any frontline worker, social workers, frontline medical staff, therapists, anyone who is giving, so that they know how to nourish themselves very deeply so that they can give safely without getting burnt out. Yeah.
So important. The majority of the people I have in the psychotherapy consultancy are givers. They work in the NGO world. They are givers. And they get lost sometimes because they give everything, no? So it's so important to nourish ourselves. And as Orla says, she teaches us how to take care of ourselves to be able to give better and farther. It's so important. I can't wait to meet Orla again and do another workshop with her. And meanwhile, I think I will attend the one of her online courses, so that I learn how to continue nourishing myself. It's so important. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Orla. Thank you so much for tonight. Thank you. We are so grateful.
It's my pleasure. And I just wanted to mention there's lots of mindfulness practice groups, sanghas, that we can join. There's a lot of them online. So I can share the link. It's plumline.org. And you can see sanghas all around the world in different languages at different times for different lengths of times that we can be part of to help grow our community as well.
Lovely. Could you also share with us the school projects that you are involved with? Maybe under the same video, you put 3 or 4 publications so that we can access to this in the very same meeting that we've had. Will that help? Yes,
that would be great. Great information in there as well. So much to cover. Our family retreat.
Oh, okay. There is some other questions, but I think I will either ask you directly or we will do it another time. Thank you so much. Sorry, the rest of you, that we could not reply all the questions, but it's time. And we will continue with this well-being series. Next week will be with psychotherapist and international trainer from Delhi, India, speaking about hypnotherapy as a healing methodology to help us release all patterns and let go addictions, for example, or other things that are disturbing our growth and tapping into that wisdom of ourselves, all these things that sometimes get entangled. We continue educating, and after the shower of wisdom and light today, Yes, my weather inside is full of rays of sun. Thank you so much. I feel like sun during the day, during the midday. Yes, 1 p.m. in Africa, big sun
So
irradiating
take
light
care.
and love. Thank you so much, and have a lovely night. We keep in touch. You will see all the links from Orla, the schools, the trainings, the classes, and her game under this video on the links. So follow us, and if you have any questions, she has a lovely also Instagram, and you can ask her directly. She will for sure reply. She's very generous. Thank you so much. Orla, have a good night. Thank you.
Take care.